No need to wait anymore for all the latest news on what's happening in technology with Tech Talk from Matt Dickerson with us once again. G'day, Matt. How you going?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Nick. How you going?
I'm great. Now, here's something that's been concerning some of the pilots' unions, and that is this auto landing system using some of the, shall we call it, technology from dragonflies. What's the story?
It's actually a thing that a lot of technology companies use called biomimicry, where they try and emulate nature. And so in this case, they're using some of the, if you like, as you say, technology from dragonflies and the way they navigate and adapting that to planes. The ultimate aim here, Nick, and this is getting a bit scary, is not so much to have no pilots in a plane, but maybe getting back to commercial aircraft having one pilot. Now, back when you and I were boys and you'd want to fly overseas, there used to be 3 people in the cockpit of a plane. There used to be the engineer as well as the 2 pilots.
Yep.
And I vaguely remember some discussion at the time when there was a bit of controversy around reducing it from 3 to 2. How could 2 people possibly fly this huge plane? But of course, technology came along and solved some of those problems, so pilots didn't need the engineer anymore. And this is where some of these airlines and some of the aircraft manufacturers are headed. They want to get to the stage where, why do we have 2 pilots in a plane? Surely 1 pilot's enough. That'll make air travel cheaper for us. It'll make the running costs of an airline cheaper. That sounds great. So some of this is planned on happening by maybe the year 2030, but not if the airline associations have their way. They don't think it's a good idea. They don't think technology in planes can take over in an emergency situation. So there's a fair bit to go on this, but it's great to see the manufacturers pushing the edge, getting to the stage where without technology at an actual airport, you could actually have a plane take off, fly and land without that human intervention.
Yeah, well, I suppose they're looking at the logic. We went from 3 to 2, and probably back then the engineers union were up in arms, and we might go from 2 to 1.
Yeah.
But a lot of it seems to revolve around, well, if a pilot happens to have a heart attack or something, we can still land the plane. There's no need for, is there a pilot on the plane? You can just press a button.
So I think some of the things, they do share some of the duties in the cockpit as well. And I think there's that redundancy built in as well. There was an article recently on the ABC website that talked about the anniversary of the day there was a pilot there was a decompression of the cockpit, windscreen was blown out, and of course there was a pilot half out the front of the plane.
Oh God, that story just makes my blood curdle.
Imagine that. So obviously it was nice that there was another pilot sitting there, but those sort of instances are fairly rare. And how often do they need 2 pilots? Well, the pilots union would say all the time. But if you've got the plane that can do so much of it by itself, and obviously autopilot seems okay, pilots are quite comfortable with that. When you get up in the air, to let autopilot take over then and fly it, keep it at the right heading, keep it at the right altitude, that type of thing. So this is the next logical step, getting to the stage where it could navigate without a pilot, it could change course without a pilot, it could land without a pilot, or with just the 1 pilot.
All right, we'll go from planes to something a bit more close to home, in fact, even close to your head. Earbuds are what a lot of us use. But what about earrings? Real pearl earrings that can play your music into your ears. How the hell does this work?
This is one of the constant battles I have I've got 3 female children, and the constant battle I have is form versus function. My female daughter or my female children seem to think that it's more important to look good than actually be practical, and I want to go down the technology path. But this is one of those rare ones, Nick, where I can see form and function coming together. Pearl earrings, lovely pearl earrings. If you like pearl earrings, these look fantastic. They look like a nice set of pearl earrings. But on the back side of them, they've actually got a tiny speaker that directs the volume towards your ear. So rather than annoying everyone around you with your taste in music or a phone conversation you might be having, the actual speaker is set up so that it directs that volume into your ear. You can hear it plainly, you can hear other noises around you as well. It's got a microphone built in, so you could have a phone conversation if you wanted to. It's actually got a button built into it, so you could actually just press the button to skip forward to another track. So it all seems to go quite well. You've got about 3.5 hours of music playback built into it. So you can imagine that they're not very large if you can picture a pearl earring, but built into that is the speaker, is the battery, is the microphone. So this is where we've got this technology now that it's so small that you can build it into a nice set of pearl earrings. So
But if it's on the outside of your ear, though, won't everybody else hear it?
Well, this is the clever thing that they've done. They've set it up so that it is on your earlobe like an earring would be, but it's actually got the speaker set up so that it directs it basically up into your ear canal. So it doesn't have to be right in there. So it's actually directed up there. If you're sitting right beside someone, you'd still hear it. But sitting maybe half a metre away or maybe a metre away, it's actually directed in such a way that it's not losing that audio in every direction. It's going to direct it directly up into your ear. So it sounds quite clever in the way they're doing that. It also lets people hear some other things that are happening around them. So if you're out, for example, walking along the footpath, you sometimes get surprised when a push bike comes up beside you, or at least this could let you still hear some of those sounds around you.
Wow. Fascinating. All right, Matt, always good to talk to you, mate. And for more, you can listen to Matt's podcast, Tech Talk, or tune in to us every week. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, Nick. Great to chat.